Today I'm going to show you how to do cinematic photography in Blender 3D and Photoshop. So for this shot, I did a 4 lighting setup. So there's a rim light, a fill light, a key light, and also a blue light to give my hair a little bit more color. So here I use the pen tool as always to cut out the subject, and I make sure to not make it way too straight, otherwise it will look too much like a cutout. So around the hair especially, I make sure to kind of give it a natural look. And after I'm done with that, I export it as a PNG to use that in Blender. Also, I double click the mask and use the refine edge tool to make sure to get all the hair looking the best it can. I always have so much fun in Blender creating compositions, especially with this new cargo software that KitBash 3D has come out with. If you guys don't know, they came out with this thing where you can just import single assets into your scene, and it makes it really easy to make cool compositions. I'm basically just making the composition fit the photography. For this specific edit, I went ahead and did the photo shoot first, and then I built the composition and the lighting around the photography. So I wanted to add some more interest to the scene, so I found this cool tactical gear on a stock photography website, and I just used the back piece to Photobash and kind of manipulate the scene a little bit more. So in this edit, I use the curves adjustment layer to color grade and change the exposure on a lot of the image instead of kind of the old way I was doing it. Yeah, it definitely worked out really well because using the curves adjustment layers, it makes it look really realistic in my opinion. I also, in this image, used quite a bit of digital painting just to make it coherent and consistent. So on this shoulder, the lighting was a little bit off, so I just kind of painted over the initial image without the color grade on it, and then I color graded that along with everything else to bring it together. So for the helmet, I used a nebula from stock photography website and also some blue flames that I took a picture of myself. The 3D render was looking way too clean for it to be in space. So what I did was I control click the thumbnail of the 3D render and it will select it. And then with that selection, I opened a new solid color adjustment layer, and I just used a dark color on my shirt to make the color consistent. And I masked out with a chalk brush some of the 3D render to kind of give it a grungy kind of look, like it flew into space because it was just way too clean. All right, so for this shot, it was shot at 50 millimeter, or maybe even less than that, maybe like 35 millimeter, but the render is definitely on 50 millimeter. So to make it look cinematic, we're gonna add depth of field. So in the background, I'm gonna compile everything and then blur it with a blur gallery in order to give it depth of field to make it look more cinematic. I'm trying to kind of look at it from a distance, and if there's anything kind of distracting me, I want to go into the background and just paint over it. So yeah, I just remove those distractions, and I kind of just want to make sure the most contrast in the image is around my face. So in the background, I kind of just do some digital painting and brighten it to make it kind of a little bit foggy back there, so it's not super contrast in the background. All right, so for this technique, it's just a gradient map. So on the sliders, on each one, it goes from 0% brightness to 25 to 50 to 75 to 100% brightness on each one. And then once you change them, it'll make this effect, and you put that gradient map into a luminosity blending mode, and it will give this nice contrast look, and you want to just mask that only on the face. All right, here in Blender, I knew I wanted some rocks in the scene. So in Blender, I have this add-on called Botanique, and it gives you really cool rocks and plants and trees that are really, really nice and realistic. So here I am doing a global color grade across the whole image to bring it together. I like to use color balance adjustment layers and using the blend if to take it out of the shadows and take it out of the highlights on both of them. I'm basically done with the edit. All I have to do is touch it up, see if there's any distracting things. I sharpen the image with unsharp mask, and I also add noise to the image to bring everything together because everything in a composite has different noise levels. So I use a 50% gray layer in soft light blending mode to add noise to the image. All right, that is it for the edit. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments, and that's all I have for you. Have a good one.